Hi everyone. I wanted to talk to you about how to feel the feels. It's like the number one thing we do with shadow work, and I recommend doing this with a therapist. But if you can't afford a therapist, this is how I was able to do it when I was really going through a lot of my recent therapy and looking at my shadow self and looking at what makes me uncomfortable, what I'm afraid of, what I'm not proud of, etc. And fully accepting all those parts of me, the parts I don't like about myself. My goal is to improve myself, but it can just be, you can just leave it at acceptance. That's no one's asking you to do anything, really. Um, but if you want to do shadow work, this video is about how to do the work. So it's kind of long, so bear with me. But in order to feel the feelings, you need to be your emotions need to be identified. You need to be able to tolerate them, and you need to be able to feel them. So I'm going to talk about how to identify, and then how to tolerate, and then how to feel. And if you can't tolerate them, I'm going to talk about distract and self-soothing and opposite action and different things that you can do. This is all taken from my understanding of DBT therapy and is not official therapy. Um, you should definitely run by your therapist with any plans that you make, but it's just a observation on how to do it. So first, with when we're trying to do shadow work and we're trying to identify what we don't like about ourselves or whatnot, the most important thing is being mindful. And mindfulness is a all about being present. Um, the objective is to bring awareness from your mind to your body to your environment in the present moment, and to accept your thoughts and feelings as they are currently. That's all you have to do is accept. You don't have to deal. You don't have to come up with all the reasons why you're feeling down. You just have to accept I'm feeling down. That's being mindful. You can do this when you're in pain, when you're stressed out, depressed, having relationship issues, having medicine issues, having a lack of focus, if you're overreacting or underreacting, if you feel like you're missing out on life, if you're having trouble remembering things, having trouble being present, need a reality check, you can practice mindfulness. The most important thing when you're practicing mindfulness is to be non-judgmental of what your thoughts do. And this is the same for meditation. You don't you it's really discouraging if when you're meditating and your brain wanders and you're like, "Oh shit, that was dumb. Why did I wander? I'm supposed to be meditating." You get mad at yourself instead of just being like, "Oh, okay, we're going to come back to present and we're going to focus on the meditation, or we're going to focus on what's currently happening around us." And one way you can do that is by being in touch with your five senses. So you can look around and name something you see. Like right now, I'm on my back porch and I have a giant tree outside. So I see a tree among many, many other things. It's green, and brown, and I can see the bark of it. I can see all the individual leaves. I can even see the veins of some of the leaves. I can see the stems. I can see a patch that doesn't have a bunch of leaves. There's different shades of green, and you just go and you describe everything that you can see about the tree. The leaves are kind of triangular at the end, and it's a one leaf thing and not a like three prong leaf or whatever. Um, that's describing what you see, and I'm being mindful and present because that tree is present with me. Something you can taste. Right now, I just smoke a cigarette, so I taste cigarette in my mouth, and it tastes like tobacco, and it's not the most pleasant taste, and it's grounding yourself to the present is what that is. So see, observe, taste, feel, or sorry, hear, feel like physical touch, and taste. You could also, with the taste one, you could also grab like a strawberry and put the strawberry in your mouth and just let it sit there, or chocolate, a piece of chocolate. Let it sit there and just be with it for a minute and taste like the fruitiness of the strawberry and the sweetness, or you taste the cacao in the chocolate, and did they mix it with almonds? What do the almonds taste like? What's the texture? How's it feel in your mouth, etc. You can do that with taste and to describe everything. Why am I forgetting the fifth sense though? Smell. Something you can smell. Um, it probably smells like cigarette smoke in here, but I'm used to it because I'm a smoker, so there we go. But that's one way to start to get grounded and be able to be mindful when you are feeling what I don't want to say negative emotion, but like that's what we all know them as, right? Negative emotions. But yeah, and just be non-judgmental when you're doing that. Just stick to the facts. You don't need to label or evaluate what you're seeing, smelling, tasting, hearing, etc. So I'm not saying, oh, that tree is really pretty. I'm saying the tree is green because that's factual. And you do this exercise of mindfulness because this is how you practice looking at your emotions. But we need to be mindful of our present before we can be mindful of what's going on inside of us. Let's see. You can practice mindfulness in prayer, dance, martial arts, puzzles and word games, meditation, guided imagery, embroidery, running, yoga, walking, hiking, just through observation, through describe, like I talked about. Um, it puts you in what DBT calls a wise mind. And what that is your rational mind and your emotion mind come together to create a wise mind. And so your cool, rational thought, your task focused thought, and your hot, mood dependent, emotion focused thought come together to create something where you see the value of each and you find the middle path in a non judgmental, mindful way. So we've become present. Now we want to identify what we're feeling. So, what was that feeling that popped up earlier when I asked? We want to observe that feeling. Right now, I said I was feeling tired. I observed that I'm tired. I can feel that I'm tired because my eyes feel a little heavy. My body is lacking energy. I'm moving slower. This is how I know that I'm tired. If it's depression, you could say because I've been crying all morning or felt on the urge need to cry. Um, I've had maybe some intrusive thoughts and been battling that, and so I feel exhausted. Whatever it is. Um, and then remember that when you're observing your feelings, that they're not facts. Like, I feel tired does not mean I am exhausted, I am lazy, I am whatever judgment you would add with that. It just means that I'm tired right now. And I'm human and I'm allowed to be tired because we all get tired every once in a while or more often. um so that's really important. And then, can I deal with this emotion right now of being tired? I don't have much else going on. Life is going really well for me. So, like, yeah, I can deal with this emotion of being tired. I can power through. I'll have another cup of coffee or something. Not power through. Sorry, that was a bad thing. Not bad. We don't want to judge. But that was not a helpful thing. When I used to try to power through everything, just like power through therapy, power through everything. And it got me to the point where I had a mental breakdown. And so I learned that powering through usually is a sign or a cue that my brain is telling me that, like, I'm on the brink of not being able to handle this, but I'm going to be stubborn and handle it anyways. And that's not the healthiest option for us most of the time or all the time. Now, not everyone can have the luxury of just being like, okay, well, forget about it for today. Some of us have to figure it out and deal with it that minute, and some of us can take a step back. So, if you're at your point where you can tolerate it, you've been able to observe and describe your emotion. If there's a problem arising out of that emotion, then you want to solve that problem. So, like, I'm tired, therefore I couldn't post this video until later. Okay, so the problem with that I solved by having more caffeine, um, which gave me relief. Oh, sorry. Uh-huh. No, that's like the paradigm of tolerance. Um, so it can be a good thing or a bad thing when you solve the problem. You can solve it in a healthy way or an unhealthy way. When you solve it in a healthy way, it'll give you that relief, but you'll be able to work through and learn a new skill and get to the other side and be more vulnerable in a good way to when your body tells you something, you're more aware of what's going on. And whenever your body gives you a cue that there's like an emotion that isn't serving you, then you know, okay, I need to observe, I need to ground myself, I need to identify what the problem is, and I need to solve that problem. Now, what if you can't tolerate that emotion at the time and you can't feel how you're feeling? That is when you use distract. You can do self-soothing. You can use ride the wave. You can use opposite action. And I'll explain what all these are in a second. So, distract is simply doing something that you want to be doing instead. It's okay to take a break from things and do some arts and crafts instead. You can do them mindfully, even like be very present in the moment and like really into what you're doing. Um, you can do some form of exercise. It can be walking, running, jumping jacks, stretching, um, getting up and just doing a lap around your house or your property. Uh, it doesn't have to be a 5K. You can go run around the block or walk around the block. But it gets you up and moving and out of the house, and your brain switches from what you were thinking about that was overwhelming to now the fact that you're walking. Now, don't let yourself, if you go on a walk, don't let yourself start focusing on that thing that you were overwhelmed by, because you're going to overwhelm yourself more. So maybe a walk wouldn't be a good idea. Maybe you need to involve yourself in something more intense, like something that would distract you, like a chore, for example, or maybe you should put on your favorite YouTube channel or TV show or podcast or movie. Um, find your favorite book and like read that, or open a new book. And like I used to love reading, and then I got really depressed and I couldn't read anymore. And what started me reading again was going to the romance genre. And I have a friend who did the same thing. So maybe you need something that's a feel good. Like, and maybe that's not romance for you. Maybe that's something else, some other genre for you. But you need a feel good something, because we're self soothing right now. We're overwhelmed. We're above our window of tolerance. For if my head is the window of tolerance of emotions, and emotions go do 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 do, or do 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 do, however your emotions go, and we're above what we can tolerate, then that was the time to not work on shadow work, because this is all part of working on shadow work. You're not going to dig into things, you're going to distract and self soothe. If we're in our window of tolerance and our depression is like here, but we're able to tolerate it, um, then that's the time to reflect and feel the feels. So other ways you can distract would be you could take a bubble bath. You could be in nature. Um, those are different ways of self-soothing and distract. But ultimately what you want to do is, once you've identified the emotion and if you can tolerate it, you want to, if you don't need to distract, you want to feel it in your body. And um that's when you think, okay, how do I feel right now? Where in my body do I feel it? Not why do I feel it? We're not asking that question right now. We're just saying, where do I feel it in my body? And for me, I said, I feel it in my eyes. And so this is when somatic therapy is really beneficial, because what it does is it like takes the stress out of your body in a way that's like really it's magic, I swear. Um but like there was one time when I was doing therapy with my therapist, and I said I feel really depressed, and I was like I feel like I'm being strangled or something like that. And I had my hand here, and I took it down, and she said, "Okay, can you put your hand back where it was, and can we just slowly like grab on and then let go and slowly remove, very slowly remove your hand away, way slower than I was doing it, from your neck, and like breathe out as you do that, like." And I started to feel relief from that feeling because I allowed my body to feel it, and I allowed my body to release it. And that's the part you let go, is the last step. And that's the part where therapy is really helpful because they'll help you figure out how to let go. Because I have identified my emotion, I have identified that I am able to tolerate it, and I want to work on it, and I need to feel it in my body, and then I need to let it go. So, um, if you're doing that work and you start to get overwhelmed again and you thought you were here but it didn't sink your depression's now here, then that's the time to go back, pause, and I would stop, take a step back, observe what's going on with you, check in again. Okay, wait, how am I feeling now? I'm feeling more depressed. Okay. If you can't feel it in your body, if you can't identify it and you just start crying or something, walk away. That's the time to you're over your limit. You can walk away from what you're feeling, and that's okay. Or you can ride the wave. You can know, okay, I feel like this right now in my depression, but I know it'll subside, and like if I just give it 20 minutes or an hour or something. And so I'm going to just like think of it as like surfing, and I'm just going to ride that wave that comes, and we're at a down point right now, and I'm going to be back above water here shortly if I just give it a minute. Maybe the depression is too rough and you need to walk away. But for those in the middle, that's one example that you can ride the wave, where you observe what's going on, and you observe it like you would if you were to have an itch and not scratch the itch. So if I, let's say in the back of my head I have an itch right now, and I'm sure talking about this there's an itch on your body somewhere. Do not scratch it. Work with me for a minute here. I feel that itch. Oh, I want to scratch it so bad. I can imagine the itch, and I feel it on my knee right now, actually, is where I want to scratch. And the back of my head. And my nose. I have an itch on my nose, but I'm not going to scratch it. I'm going to go against that urge to scratch the itch, and I'm just going to feel the itch. I just feel it. It's uncomfortable, but I'll get through. And that's how you feel your feelings. You accept them, you observe them, you accept them, you feel them, you notice that they're uncomfortable. This is why you've been avoiding them forever. But you're going to sit with them and feel them. If you cry, you cry. It's okay to cry. If you need to scream and yell, scream and yell. If it makes you need to journal, journal. Your journey is your journey. I'm just giving you tools on how you can do this. You take what you will out of it. But yeah, I still have that itch, and I'm not scratching it because I'm feeling my feelings right now, as an example. And I'm going to scratch it now because, oh my God, it became too overwhelming. Too overwhelming. So I gave in to the feeling of that. Now, if we're talking about like harming ourselves or something that's harmful, we don't want to give in to that feeling. We want to use the distract thing. Or, what was the other one I said I was going to talk about? Sorry. Distract, self-soothing, and opposite action is a good one too. So, okay, if I'm feeling the itch in my nose and I'm trying to sit with the feeling, the opposite action might be, okay, I'm just going to touch my shoulder or something. So I'm feeling like I'm able to do something that is opposite. Or like if I'm feeling depressed, maybe I need to watch a funny movie. Even if I don't feel like it and it doesn't sound good, like turning on something funny. For me, it was cat videos. Funny cat videos is what always helped me. Whatever your thing is, do it, and the opposite, and it should help you tolerate that emotion as you're going through it. So, yeah, that's what I have. Thank you for watching this really long video. It's hopefully beneficial to you. Um, we talked about mindfulness. We talked about emotional regulation, understanding our emotions, um, then understanding if we can tolerate them or not, because we have the window of tolerance, which we're saying is my head, and the wave of emotion can go up and down, and like if we can't tolerate it because it's up too high here or down, depression is too low down here, way past where my tolerance level is, or maybe you can only tolerate emotions this way. That's like a dance move. This way. And so if it goes up even like this for you, that's too much, but for someone else, their tolerance is higher and that's not too much. So everyone is different and that's okay. I will leave you with a little exercise about how you can manage your emotions and understand yourself a little better. No, I'm not going to do that.